Thank you, Chairman Grassley. Ms. Lynch, congratulations on your historic nomination and your very fine conduct in this hearing today. The Attorney General of the United States is one of the most important offices for which this committee has oversight responsibility and consent responsibility. And the current Attorney General, Eric Holder, has served in that office with distinction under very trying circumstances. For better or worse, the Attorney General often serves as a lightning rod for those in this body with complaints about the administration. And I think it takes special mettle to deal with that kind of constant incoming fire while remaining composed and focused on a constructive and forward-looking agenda. I'm interested in hearing from you about how you plan to carry forward progress on some of the issues that the Department of Justice faces with respect to privacy, collaboration with state and local law enforcement, IP protection, and important civil rights issues such as sentencing reform, voting rights, and racial profiling. As successful as Attorney General Holder has been, there remains important progress to make in just 2 years in this administration to make it. First, if I could, about state and local law enforcement. Given my previous experience, I'm thrilled that someone with your seasoned and senior experience in law enforcement has been nominated for this position. I serve as co-chair with Senator Roy Blunt of the Senate Law Enforcement Caucus, and the Department of Justice plays a central role in supporting state and local law enforcement. Can you just comment for me, if confirmed, on the importance you would place on the partnership between federal, state, and local law enforcement, including such programs as the Bulletproof Vest Program, the Justice Reinvestment Initiative, the Violence Reduction Network, which is particularly important to me, and information sharing. And then second, Senator Flake asked about this previously, but could you just talk about the Victims of Child Abuse Act programs and comment on what experiences you've had with child advocacy centers and how they function as one of the partnership undertakings between federal, state, and local law enforcement?
Certainly, Senator. With respect to the important partnership between the Department of Justice and our state and local law enforcement counterparts, it will be one of my highest priorities to ensure that there is not only collaboration and cooperation, but active and ongoing discussion about the needs that we can help fulfill, but also, Senator, what we can learn from our state and local counterparts. It has been my experience, having had the benefit of, frankly, learning from some of the best law enforcement agents and police officers around, that no one knows the crime problem like the cop on the beat. No one really understands what's going on in a community like the officer who walks those streets every night and knows those residents and understands those issues. Similarly, our federal law enforcement agency partners have outstanding background, effort, and ability to manage complex cases. And when we combine those two, we have been able to achieve tremendous results for victims of violent crime, of terrorism, of cybercrime, along with the cases that you mentioned involving vulnerable victims of child abuse. So certainly I feel that there has to be a collaborative relationship, but I want to essentially assure you that in my view, it would be one where we would not just provide assistance and training and grants. That is very, very important, but we would also listen and learn as well from our local law enforcement partners.
Well, thank you. That's both a good answer and a great attitude, and I look forward to working with you in this area going forward. The USA Patriot Act, and in particular its Section 215 authority, is often thought of as a spying program, which in some ways it essentially is. But it also is and can be a tool that DOJ and FBI routinely use in the course of domestic law enforcement and its investigative missions. Does the DOJ use Section 215 as a bulk collection tool? And could the department continue to make effective use of Section 215 if the enhanced privacy protections, the limitations on bulk collection set forth in the USA Freedom Act were to be adopted?
Well, Senator, Section 215, as I understand it, is not a bulk collection tool in and of itself, but a way in which the government, using court authority, can obtain information already gathered that might be useful in ongoing national security investigations. But certainly I understand that as we work to protect our country from terrorists who seek to attack us here and abroad, that we have to be mindful of our civil liberties and the privacy rights of anyone who may be impacted by our collection procedures. And certainly I look forward to, as the renewal of Section 215 comes up, I look forward to discussions with you and the other members of this committee about the best way in which to keep that useful tool and also reassure this body and the American people that it is being used in the most effective way.
I'm also concerned about IP, intellectual property protections, as we talked about previously, and trade secret. My understanding is several other senators have also asked about this issue, so I'll try to be brief. I'm concerned about the huge transfer of wealth going on through trade secret theft, And the federal crime under the Economic Espionage Act is estimated to be responsible for up to $500 billion annually in terms of losses to the United States. Yet there's only 1 or 2 cases a month federally brought by prosecutors. As the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District, what's been your experience in investigating or prosecuting trade secret theft, and would you be interested in working together to strengthen the resources and strengthen the legal authorities for protecting America and our inventions and innovations and ensuring that we stem the tide of loss through trade secret theft?
Certainly, Senator, in my experience as the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, I don't believe we have any specific indictments under the Trade Secrets Act. We do, however, have a number of cases where we have intercepted foreign actors trying to obtain U.S. information, and we have prosecuted them under other statutes. So we deal with very, very similar issues. I will note that these cases tend to be complex and long-term. They do require an investment of resources, the devotion of time on the part of prosecutors, but also technological resources on the part of our law enforcement agencies. So I would look forward to, should I be confirmed, working with you and this committee to ensure that we have the appropriate resources we need to handle these cases.
Well, as a member of the Appropriations Subcommittee responsible, I look forward to working with you on that. I think it's vital that we strengthen the protections for America's inventions and inventors. Let me last ask about criminal justice reform, an issue that I think is front and center and important for our country and for our justice system. We've seen in a number of ways in the last year that our criminal justice system is broken in terms of how it deals with mass incarceration and its impact in particular on drug offenders and on the African-American population of our country. It's not just a civil rights problem, but also a fiscal problem and a social problem. And if you look at the numbers of who's incarcerated and for how long and under what charges, I think there is a significant inequality that needs to be addressed. I think we need legislation through this committee and in this body that will help rationalize overly mandatory, overly long drug sentences for nonviolent offenders. Attorney General Holder took an important step forward 2 years ago when he issued revised guidance to the field directing the prosecutors not automatically charge the most serious mandatory minimum triggering levels of drug possession against low-level nonviolent offenders. I wondered whether whether it's your intention to keep in place Attorney General Holder's 2013 memorandum, or whether you would look for other or additional ways within the law, within the Constitution, to promote the equal and just application of our criminal laws to every person, regardless of background, of sex, of gender, of sexual orientation, race, religion, or nationality.
Senator, you touch on the important issue of making sure that our criminal justice system protects the American people, but does so in a way that's fair and effective, and also protects the individual rights of everyone who has to pass through it. It is the responsibility of a prosecutor not just to win convictions, but to bring justice to every case, no matter what the result. Certainly, with respect to Smart on Crime, I've found it similar to many ways in which my own district has had to manage an ever-increasing problem of narcotics prosecutions of low-level offenders and work with an ever-growing docket of larger narcotics cases also. And I found it to be a reasonable approach to do so, and look forward to continuing that particular initiative. But I also look forward to further discussions with you and your colleagues on these issues as to how we can ensure that our criminal justice system is effective and yet also protects the people who have to go through it. That is the dual responsibility of the prosecutor. It's one that I've taken seriously all of my professional career, and should I be confirmed as Attorney General, I look forward to working with you as we explore that issue together.
Well, thank you, Ms. Lynch. As he said at the outset, Senator Leahy remarked that nearly a third of the department's budget at this point is dedicated to the Bureau of Prisons. I think we have a pressing civil rights issue nationally for us in terms of our criminal justice system, but I've also long been a supporter of law enforcement and believe that you are uniquely positioned, qualified, and prepared to help us balance these twin obligations of ensuring that our communities are safer and stronger and ensuring that our justice system delivers on justice. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.